Last week, Elementor released the V4 beta, and I've been taking time on it to see how far it's gotten and how much further it needs to go. Now, Elementor did state that this is ready for production, and they even make a claim right here that this beta of version 4 is considered production ready for real projects. Elementor, what are you doing? You can't say this. Okay. All right, I'm gonna breathe for a second, and I am going to make it clear in this video if this is actually ready for production live websites, but just an FYI, anytime anything is a first release of a beta, it is not ready for production websites, but we will still go ahead and see if it's ready. In my last V4 video, I had a list of things that I felt was missing and still needed to be a production ready website. And we're going to cover that list, see what has been checked off, what is still, I feel, lacking. And I do want to hear from you. What do you think is still needed to make this ready to go live? I would love to hear your ideas, so make sure to drop those in the comments. First, let's take a look at what's new and the updates. And my favorite by far is the updates to the variables. Now, if we click on the element, you got to look for one of these variable icons in order to access the manager. Hopefully they change as soon and make this more easy to access. But you click on it, go to this gear icon. And now if we look at our variable manager, let me expand this. You can see we have clamps. And this I am very excited for because now we can make fluid typography and other fluid sizing, like what I like to do with my gaps and my sections, border radiuses, and more. So we could use that. And let me show you how it works. Let me go to a clamp generator. I am going to make this 80 pixels, but convert it to rem, and 20 on mobile. We're going to grab this clamp snippet, open this up. Let's drop this down and go over to this formula icon and paste that in. And this here got me really excited, but I did want to show this because I am running into tons of bugs. I can see this automatically converts down to a pixel again, but that is the thing with betas. They do have lots of bugs. Now let's go and take a look at something else for the variables that I thought were really important as well. And that is now the missing variables have been added. Like before, we did not have variables when it came to border radiuses and border widths. So all of those missing variables that were left out have been added. Very big update. I feel this is really important. Good job, Elementor. Now, the next big update are going to be the components. And the way that these work, let's say we add in an inner container, and we're going to use this inner container like a card. Let me go ahead and give this 25%. We can now create something like a pricing table or a regular card, an icon box, whatever it is, we could create it, spend time on it, and then from right up in here, and it has to be your Flexbox container or your div block elements, and it has to be the atomic element. By the way, this does not work on the old containers. As you can see here, we don't have that option, but over here we do, and we can now create component. We can now create a library of pre-built assets that you could use across your site. Now, we are still in the early stages of this. I want to get into it a bit deeper before I create a dedicated video on it, which one will be coming, but I could see this being really useful inside of the design and build process. Another new feature is their inline styling. Let me just drop in this text right here. Now, what that means is we could just right click, hold it, and now we get these options for like bold, italic, but you can see here, it's going underneath the builder. In fact, if I want to try to select this, it's going off screen. It is what it is. You know, again, it's beta. And in fact, if we look here, this looks like I applied no styling, but in actuality, it does have the styling applied. Right now, as far as testing this, I do have my clamps set to top and bottom and my sides, but they don't show in the builder. In fact, I tried a lot of different clamps. The clamps do show in the front end, but not inside of the builder. And this is a fresh, clean install with nothing active but Elementor and Elementor Pro on my local host. So there wouldn't be any other conflicts. And then a couple other updates that happened right before this. Number one is the display conditions. Now, this is powerful. I do like this. This is one of those new features I thought was awesome. I'm going to drop in a button element. I'm going to pull it down here just so we could see it a little bit better. Let's say we wanted this to be a login button. We don't want it to be a login showing if somebody is already logged in. This is where display conditions could be super helpful. You know, you could add that in and you could put in logged in status and you could show it or hide it based on that status. And let's say there's situations as well where we have like what I got on my own website, which is a newsletter down inside of the footer. Now, I don't want this newsletter to be right underneath a contact form, to have two forms stacked on top of each other. So with the display conditions, we could easily prevent this without having to resort to code snippets in order to hide things. Another new feature are the interactions. And this is all about animations. And I'm going to be quite honest and just my own personal opinion, but I don't think this is important. I think we have far more important things that I would rather see than animations, which animations shouldn't really be used that much anyways, except for somebody who really knows what they're doing. And in that case, GSAP is going to be the way to go. And that is a great segue to the next part of the video to go over what I feel is still missing. And again, if there's something I miss and something you think is missing that is needed just for a beginning, just to be able to build basic brochure style websites, landing pages, drop those in the comments. This is my list. Number one, grids. We gotta have that CSS grid option. Right now it's just flex. Once you start using grids, going back to Flexbox and having to assign percentages to the inner containers, it's just not as cool. Okay, grids most definitely is needed. We also need new atomic elements, especially the form and the menu element. I would like to see those because right now we don't have anything new. None were added. And in fact, this is painfully minimal right now. I feel like Divider, we never needed that. YouTube, it's like, okay. You know, the Flexbox and div block, these are the same exact elements, or just one set to block, one set to flex. That was redundant right there. Did not need that. So it would be great to get some more useful elements that we use on every single project. Now, I know we could combine V3 with V4 or the existing widgets with the new atomic elements, but I would like to see, and this might just be me, but I would like to see a way to build a simple website with just atomic elements. We're also going to need loop grids. That's missing. So I'm pretty sure a lot of this stuff is going to come. Clamps and variables. Okay, we could check that off. Missing variables. Check that off. Good job, Elementor. We needed that. Now, we do need to remove default spacing. You see right here, we have that default 10 pixel spacing around our elements. There's no way to remove it unless if we go into the class and assign things at the class level or mess around inside of the editor. In our original Flexbox, we were able to remove that by going into our site settings, down to the layout and changing the container padding to 0. Now, personally, I have never felt this should have been added. To me, this just solves a UI issue, but it creates a much bigger problem. The next item I would like to see is better linking or having the sides linked. And what that means is, well, Brick's done it and they did it brilliantly. Makes it so much easier to use. So instead of either having to manually add something on each side, which is not that common, or being stuck trying to add it on all sides evenly, which is very rare to do. Instead, you have an option to link the top, link the sides. This might seem small, but once you have used it, it is significant in the workflow on how much time you save. It makes just everything so much smoother. Now, I am approaching a lot of this as a Power Bricks user. For the last couple of years, Bricks has been my daily driver. I still use Elementor, just not as much as Bricks, because I do like the class-based workflows. I do like the frameworks. I do like to have workflows that are built to streamline the whole process. And I am glad Elementor is adopting it with the V4. But if we are going to adopt it in Elementor, let's go ahead and get it done right. And even if we got to shamelessly copy what somebody else is doing good, there is nothing wrong with that. Which brings brings us to the next item on my list, and that's proper CSS units at start. That's going to be your pixel, rem, em, percentage. We need to have best practices encouraged because right now it still isn't. For an example, here we got the text. Let's go over to our typography. And for our font sizes, it's still set to pixel by default. I want to see things done right, encouraging best practices, and setting up font sizes to rem should be the way to go. Same thing with other elements as well. Let's say our line height. This should not be at pixel. This should be at M. Letter spacing, M. This is the thing that I would like to see change, having a best practice approach to everything. But real quick, I do got to give Elementor credit because they did make a big improvement to their HTML. They fixed the tags. For example, now the button is going to use a button tag and not an A tag, which is going to be better for screen readers, accessibility, and it's just proper semantic markup. So they have made improvements with best practices behind the hood, which is really good. And this one is the UI fixes. There are opportunities to fix this up, like clearing the values. They're often different. Some are using the X, some have that little broom that you click on. Then there are other things like the variables and even the drop downs. Like, it would be so much better if we, for an example, if we're going through here that, it would be more of like an accordion where things are closing so we don't have all of these open. Let's say I open, see, I'm already getting confused here. I got to click and close everything. This is just an example. Another thing is going to be the box shadow. So I was really excited and then super disappointed, and I hope this gets fixed. This is the box shadow. Now we have the opportunity now to add multiple box shadows. This means we could create glassmorphic, skeuomorphic, neomorphic. We could create these different styles where we are using the inset, but we cannot have a negative value in it. And I mean, it's a small fix, but we should be able to put like a negative 12 pixels so I could go ahead and put my shadow on the bottom and I could put a shadow on the top and get really creative with those glassmorphic effects. So hopefully we could get that fixed. And then the last thing on my list, this is going to be improve our class and variable manager. Now, right now, it's a lot better. I was able to go in here, spend about an hour and created the variables that I use on all of my projects. And just for reference, this is my setup in Core Frameworks where I have all my variables and all of my utility classes set up. So I was just able to go in here, replicate everything. And what I would like to see here and what I think is going to really help out, first off, we need to export and import. This took me an hour and I'm still not done. I don't want to have to do this every single time. So import and export is definitely absolutely needed, but then also a way to better manage this because it is going to start to get big. Like I would like to see grouping, being able to filter through grouping, like my typography variables, my colors, my gaps, my spaces. You will see later on as we are building sites using the V4 editor and relying on a framework built on top of variables that often we are going to have the page built out. And as we need to make adjustments, we go into our variables and start making adjustments to the values in here. And a good reference is going to be something like Core Framework. The reason why I like it is because it just makes things so much easier to navigate, to manage, to organize. I got all my typography in one setting. I got all my colors together. And then even when it comes to the designs, I'm able to organize everything cleanly. One other thing that would be great, and I feel Elementor users would greatly appreciate, is having something like what we have here. So instead of having to go over to a clamp calculator, put in our values, copy the line of CSS, is to instead have something like what we have here. And that is a way to just put in your desktop value and your mobile, and then have it all automatically calculate, convert itself to rem. And this way, if we do need to make an adjustment, let's say I feel this font size is too big on desktop, I could just go in here and change this, bring it down to, let's say 80 or something. That's it. But if you do want to make adjustments inside of your variable manager, you have to go all the way back over to your clamp calculator, You got to recalculate it, re-upload it, and that just causes a lot of friction that I feel can be removed. Which now brings us to the question we started this video on: is this ready for production live websites? And there's just way too many bugs still. There are things still that are missing, and I would not put this on a live website. It is good to start to play around with, to start to get used to. And in fact, I think everybody who is building Elementor websites for clients and serious about your skills, you should be practicing, creating some basic landing pages, getting used to it, because this is going to change later on in the future as it does become more stable. I think we are at a good start. I am looking forward to creating more tutorials showing how to use this. I want to show how to build a proper variable framework like what I have. So that is coming soon. There's a lot that I am looking forward to do with this V4. I'm excited about it, but still, we got a little bit of ways to go before we put it on a live website. I would still love to hear your thoughts, so drop those in the comments. What do you think is still needed to make this go live? What would make you comfortable using the V4 editor on a real client project? I would love to hear your thoughts. Well, that's it for this video. Got more coming, so stay tuned. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.